Welcome to Season Chasers. I'm Rob Freeman. Those that love nature and outdoor sports spend a lot of quality time looking for adventure throughout the year. The more you study, the more you learn about the peak seasons in nature. It's fun to know when it's best to go fishing or hunting, when it's time to pick blueberries, wild mushrooms, or native pecans. Sometimes the peak season is close to home, right in your own backyard, or it could be miles away near the mountains and the sea. Either way, this program will chase the seasons where the action is hot.
The season is spring, late May and early June. This is the story of 3 different recent fishing trips. 3 types of different fishing methods on public lakes in the state of Kansas. We'll do some catch and release bass fishing at Bone Creek. We'll run some lines at a big power plant lake north of here. And do our best to fill some baskets with fresh caught crappie. Today, we study, learn, and share spring fishing in Kansas. And you're already in the boat with Season Chasers.
Good catfish collection there. Here's what we came out here for, everybody.
Maybe they're just now getting here.
There we go. These are spring crappie from Public Lake over here, and been out here several times this spring on what I would call really nice casting practice runs. But it's a whole lot more fun when you actually catch a few like this, and we're going to try to fill a couple of baskets today if we're lucky. That's the plan today on Season Chasers. What you got, Jimmy?
Looks like about a 2-pound bass.
And that's pretty fun to catch on a crappie rig. Hold it up here. Yeah, that's a good one. Like a really nice healthy one too.
And back in he goes.
That's not big enough to keep here, but that's not what we're after anyway. We're trying to get these crappie. Trying to get them in the basket today. But bass like that will wake you right up. Got him. Little tiny guy.
That's what I was looking for, Dana.
This one's not a keeper.
Holy smokes. That's
Jim,
what I'm talking about.
Get that fish in this boat. Pull him out of my honey hole, did you?
Hey.
Wow. Look at that. Wow. I think that's bigger than mine, Jim. But you can put that in my basket if you want to.
Just a little bit. Where's yours at?
Yeah. You got a good basket going here. Wow, this is great.
Don't drop that fish.
Glad we didn't move too far. Got him again. Not quite a keeper, maybe. Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, I got the stick that time.
That a keeper, Dennis?
I can clean it.
I'll keep it then. If Dennis would keep it, I'll keep it. Ooh, good one.
Yeah.
That would be a keeper.
Over you guys
Go ahead, come on over here. There's action.
I've been catching crappie at this pit that I go to,
Yeah.
and they've got a black streak down the tops of their head
Wow.
and down their fin,
Haven't seen that.
and then on the bottom side of their mouth.
Got him. Nice deliberate bite. I'll take that one.
a little better. Not much.
Got him. These aren't super big today, but
Glad to have some. Haven't had many fresh fish for a while. And these are pretty fresh. Well, I was trying to tell you.
That did it.
Darn. Right there. That's the one. Let it fall all the way down. Oh, might have to get out the second basket. There you go. That'll work.
Got the second basket.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, some of us get the keepers.
Remember what Jason said that time? He had to worry about his fitting in there, so he had to go get a shoehorn. Got it in there. Ooh, there's one. It's like a crappie. Nice one. Hold that one up here. There you go.
What'd you use?
Nice crappie.
That'll work.
Somewhere between that bank and that bank over there.
Exactly.
Usually the best spots.
I think it's just full in here, and you just move the boat just a little bit. You get into another whole bunch of them, like right there.
Got him. I saw it tick the line.
There's another
Not
one.
very fast because this one swallowed it really deep. Well, that's a decent one there. All right, let's move.
Hey!
That does it. Let's move.
On this trip, it's early of a morning. I've met up with Glenn and Eric, who both know a lot about pro bass fishing. We're at Bone Creek Lake in Crawford County, and Glenn tells us what we're after today.
We're here on Bone Creek, and this is called the Hump, and it's a pretty well-known spot. It's actually a road they dug to help build this lake, and it's kind of eroded out a little bit, but it's just a giant hub.
It's like a big finger that sticks out off the dam. It's a shallow spot on top, deep water surrounding it on three sides. With a little bit of current from the high water we've had, you can maybe hear the water running out the overflow. Creates a little current over it. It's kind of one of those spots that we might catch a big one.
So what are you going to be throwing today?
We're throwing football jigs.
Now this lake is pretty well known for bass, but there's a lot of other pretty healthy varieties in here, aren't there?
Yeah, usually are great crappie spawn. There are some big channel cat.
The size of the channel cat.
It's unreal. It's just I don't think it gets fished. We watched the tournament one night come in and they had some giant. Look at the perch explode over there at the outlet.
I've personally caught 2 over 19 bass fish.
The crappie just get hard to find during the summer. There's guys that do it every day.
Look at this guy.
First fish. There we go. It's a giant.
That's not quite the size we're looking for.
No, I was on the way up with a jig.
Yeah, just whipping
Common head just made me look like an amateur.
Then they do it.
That's what we're after, only bigger. Right there. Very nice.
Quite the size we're looking for, but we got a healthy fish. He's got a little red on his tail still. Look at that there.
Been on the nest. Good job. So what you're throwing is pretty much to resemble crawdad?
Yeah, and just letting it sit down there on the bottom. Usually the bass won't be right on top of it. They're just waiting for something to fall down there. He's got one, a good one.
What we came here for. Good one.
They're feeding here.
He's in the boat.
Just a little guy.
Did you say this water's fairly clear for the rain we've had this month?
Yeah, it's still pretty clear. It actually looks like it maybe got a little bit this year.
It usually doesn't color a lot. Stays pretty clear even when we get, it takes a torrential type rain to bring dirt all the way to the dam. Some of the feeder creeks will dirty up.
There's probably not a whole lot of plowed ground.
Nope.
Got one?
Little. Move you up.
There's the population of them here is incredible.
That'll feed some catfish right there. And bass too, you suppose.
Yeah, that's what they're eating, probably down here.
There you go.
Little guy.
It's all good.
We've got a hard bottom, or the brown line that you see is a bottom. This kind of orangey color tells me it's a pretty firm bottom, but all of this stuff above it is the grass that's growing up off the bottom.
And that's where all the food's hiding.
They don't have to swim a long way to get something. They can burst out of the grass and have it before.
This right here is the emergency. If this lake ever got so high, these are the emergency dikes here.
Overfill
Yeah.
or overflow?
Yeah, it's about 3 different levels. The shallowest level is the furthest away. There's one.
Fishing a grass flat right
decent size.
That's a pole bender.
Yep. And I'm not doing anything crazy or wild, just a wacky rigged Senko over top of the grass.
Very effective.
You don't have to get all excited about working it or.
Well, that's what that one pro guy told me one time. He said, you throw it out there and you bring it back in. And I said, well, how fast? And he goes, you can't pull it any faster than they can swim. He says, sometimes they'll leave it alone. But if they can catch a live fish, they can catch anything you can throw. And I suppose if they'll eat crawdads with the pinchers on them, they'll eat these heavy jigs and everything else.
Like him I was thinking.
Yep.
Better, ain't it?
Yeah. That one's kind of got some scars from the spawning efforts. It's probably a 2.5 pound fish.
I wanted to show him what was fishing. That's what's on the bottom, all over. And what he's doing is just going through that kind of grass down there. And it grows everywhere here.
Through the fishing season, there are some Thursday night tournaments out at Bone Creek. The participants gather at the South Boat Ramp in the early evening, with the weigh-in just after dark. Glenn says some of the Bone Creek 5-fish limits regularly top 20 pounds, making this place a very competitive tournament lake. Thanks to Glenn and Eric for today's bass tour of Bone Creek Lake in Kansas. Coming up, we'll haul in some big catfish. That's still to come on today's Season Chasers.
Extreme environments can cause a spontaneous change in DNA, resulting in unexpected power and agility. Introducing the all-new, all-powerful Gator RSX 850i. 62 horsepower, a fully independent multi-link suspension, and a top speed of 53 miles per hour. It's a whole new species of gator.
When it's time to buy a better boat, Albers is the place to get your best deal on a new tracker or nitro. Albers Marine, Arma, Kansas. Trade up to a new tracker, ready for the lake, powered by Mercury Outboards. Albers Marine, Arma, Kansas. Your ticket to the great outdoors is Tracker from Albers Marine. Albers Marine, Arma, Kansas. Your tracker and nitro boats dealer, North Highway 69, Arma, Kansas. They're counting down the days till spring at Blue Ribbon Farm and Home. Now's the time to prepare your garden for the spring weather ahead. Blue Ribbon has hundreds of varieties of top quality garden seed, so you can get started. Whether you have a lap dog, a sport dog, chickens, or a goofy goat, Blue Ribbon Farm and Home has all the feeds you'll ever need.
You talk about a goofy goat, and this is the goofy goat right here.
It's another early morning fishing trip in late May. I've met up with some friends from Arma who are really good at bringing in the catfish.
Yeah, slap all you want.
He's really happy now, isn't he?
We'll all be happy if we can get a few more of these in Jason's boat. So let's go out and run some catfish lines. What do you say?
Ooh.
So we just use a 25 hook trout line, bluegill, perch, mainly perch this time, and setting over 10 to 15 foot of water and letting them sit all night. Come back in the morning and pick them up. And
here's some more of the picking up part. It takes an experienced crew to work these lines without getting caught on the boat. This team is in for some heavy production today, and most of today's big ones are blue catfish, but this power plant cooling lake holds a lot of flatheads and channel cats too. So far today, it's mainly the big blues and the smaller channels being caught. The bait today is live sunfish. If things continue to go well, we could pull in too many to put on a stringer. Don't worry, there's plenty of room in the bottom of Jason's boat. By now we're starting to get a pretty good crowd of catfish in the boat, but it's still time to check for more. The overnight bite was pretty good to us, with fish on several hooks in a row. Say hello to our new friend, Mr. Whiskers. Now, if you ask me, I'd call this a really nice bunch of fresh catfish. How about one more big blue cat? The biggest blue in the boat was close to 30 pounds. With two more, well over 15 pounds.
He's a guest of honor. Welcome aboard.
As we idle back to camp with a nice boatload of catfish, Jace is waiting on the shore to see what we ended up with.
Vicious. Is he gonna keep any of these channels? Is Mike gonna keep any of these channels?
Yeah, he likes the channel, and they want some fish. So.
Boy, you did catch a few blue cat. Wow. Triple good blues.
He didn't get no flat. Oh man.
Yeah, that's what he said.
I like flathead better than blue cat. They are hard to catch.
Yeah, we got some fish cleaning. Just right what you got right here.
Dang, that's a big blue cat. Is that a channel or blue?
That's a blue.
And what channel? Dang, he's been.
Basically, we just use a 25 hook trout line, bluegill, perch, mainly perch this time, and setting over 10 to 15 foot of water and letting them sit all night. Come back in the morning and pick them up and end up with, I'll say we're probably pretty close to 100 pounds of catfish. Not too bad for a night's work. Now's when all the fun work begins. Fun part's over. Now it's just work after this. You get them all cleaned up and get all the lines picked back up. So, not too bad of a trip. Probably caught close to, I don't know, 250 pounds of fish in 2 nights. So not a bad trip. I'll come back.
Oh yeah. Good catfish collection there. 250 pounds of catfish will make a lot of nuggets. Jason's family and friends know just how to process and preserve all of this for a number of tasty meals for several families. Not a bad way to spend a weekend in the month of May.
Yeah, slap all you want.
Waka waka.
Tune in each week for some of the stuff you just won't see on other shows. Outdoors, wildlife, and a life of adventure. Being on the lookout for natural foods and making the most of what the wildlife provides. Study, learn, and share the great outdoors with someone who's important to you.